Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Rustam, and today I'm going to talk about intonation, which is a feature of connected speech. Uh, Connected speech is very important, chunk of language learning, and whenever we learn discrete items, okay, but when these discrete item, go into connected speech, their features change. So this lecture is being recorded for students, BS4 semester students studying at Government Degree College, Havelia. However, other students who are also learning phonetics and phonology, they are studying phonetics and phonology at different colleges. They can also benefit from this lecture. If you are visiting my channel for the first time, you are requested to subscribe the channel and also press the bell icon. And if video quality is not good, so you can enhance its quality by going to the setting button on the screen. So earlier in this series, as you can see on the screen, there are three branches of phonology. One is segmental phonology, second one is suprasegmental phonology, and third one is contrastive phonology. I have already covered lectures in segmental phonology, and now this is the last lecture of this suprasegmental phonology known as intonation. So intonation is not an easy concept to be understood at this advanced at this early stage of tuning second language learning, but I'll try to touch upon few features of intonation. So next in the series will be contrastive phonology, that is pronunciation of teaching, and the features of Pakistani English. So let's turn towards intonation. So simply speaking, for B students, it is just a raising and lowering of the pitch of the voice, okay, and we also call it tune. So the word intonation or tune, they are synonymous terms. So whenever we change, either we raise our pitch of the voice or we lower the pitch of voice. And second thing is speed, the direction. So this is a very important observation, that no known natural language is spoken on a monotone without any rise and fall of the voice. So we usually raise and lower our voice whenever we speak. So a tune has both direction and pitch, that is height of the voice. So you can understand this concept when I give you some few examples later on. But we need to know that there are three types of tunes: falling tunes, rising tune, and mixed tunes. Mixed tune means that sometimes it is rising and falling, okay, like this, the tune rises and then falls, or sometimes it falls and then rises, okay. So this type of tunes, these types of tunes are known as mixed types of tunes. Okay, now what are the functions of intonation? So it does two very important functions. One is the modification of meaning. The meanings are changed with the help of raising and lowering of the voice. And second is speaker's attitude can be deduced from his or her intonation. So we can just by the tone we can give out that the person what type of attitude is being shown to us. First, let me talk about modification of meaning. Now here is a sentence. uh, this sentence, like Tariq lives in Karachi, it will be uttered in with two different tones, okay, two different tunes. So see how the respondent takes it. Like here is a speaker 1 and here is a speaker 2. Speaker 1 says that Tariq lives in Karachi, and speaker 2 says where, uh, and A says Defense Colony. Again listen to the conversation. Tariq lives in Karachi. Where? Defense Colony. Okay, got it. So this sentence was uttered in a certain way, and the person who listened to it, he just asked, he pronounced this where in a falling tone. Okay, that is, he said that he has understood he lives in Karachi, but which part of the Karachi? Okay, so now see the rising tone. Speaker says Tariq lives in Karachi. Where? Karachi. Okay, so this was spoken in a monotone, you can say, without any rise and fall, but here is the intonation shown. So in this there are two words, where here and where here. So this was uttered with falling tone and this was uttered with rising tone. Okay, it means that speaker didn't understand, so the first speaker had to repeat it. Okay, and let me again give you some pronunciation. Tariq lives in Karachi. Where? Defense colony. Okay, Tariq lives in Karachi. Where? Karachi. So in both situations, uh, it is the intonation which is which modifies the meaning. So it is the intonation, it is the way of pronouncing the word where, which has changed the meaning. Okay, meaning has been modified. So in the first chunk of speech act, what is the speaker 2 knows that he has understood that he lives in Karachi, but he wants to know which part of the Karachi. But in the second speech event, the speaker hasn't understood the actual word. That's why he said, pardon please, so what did you say? And the first speaker repeated that Karachi. Okay, now here is another example of this modification of meaning. See, this sentence, the first sentence, okay, will be uttered with two modification sorry, with two types of tunes, with two types of intonation. Now the first speaker says sorry, I would like to see your son Bashir. So here it means that Bashir is the name of the son's name is Bashir. So speaker 2 says Bashir is not at home. Now again listen to the speech chunk. I would like to see your son Bashir. Okay, I would like to see your son Bashir. Now second sentence. I would like to see your son Bashir. It means the name of the father's name is Bashir. Okay, father's name is Bashir. So the person who is talking to Bashir, he pauses here. I would like to see your son Bashir. Okay, see, I would like to see your son Bashir. Bashir, I would like to see your son. So in writing we can show this with the help of a comma, but in speech we show the change using intonation. What is intonation? You can equate it with punctuation. So in writing, whenever we have to show some pauses, so we use a comma or other punctuation marks. So in speech we show this pause with the help of intonation. Here is a common Urdu phrase. Let's say, let me write it here. These are three words, if you can see. Now if it is writing, we can put a comma here. We can say utho mat baitho if it is in writing, and we can also put comma somewhere here. Okay, we can erase this from here and we can put the comma here. We can say utho mat baitho. But in speech we can't show this comma. And how do we indicate? With the rising and falling of our pitch of the voice. Let me show you again. Let's say there were no commas here. So how are you going to show your meaning? You will say utho mat baitho. Now this is the rising tone. Okay, utho mat baitho. But now you can say utho mat baitho. Now this is falling tone. So this is how you indicate meaning. Okay, here is third example of modification of meaning. So this anywhere and anywhere here, they will be pronounced with two tunes, with two intonation patterns. Okay, one is rising and falling, and the second one is falling and rising. Okay, and let's say you speaker A talks to someone and says that you can't sit anywhere. Okay, there are no seats. It means there are no seats. If you visit to a pandal and where you just happen to be a visitor and the host says that you can't sit anywhere. Okay, you can't sit anywhere. Now here, falling and rising, you can't sit anywhere. Okay, have you got you can't sit anywhere? It means that you can have a seat, but the choice is not yours. Okay, I mean, you can, someone, if you have already occupied a seat, so the speaker, the host, may be annoyed with you and he or she is telling you that you can't sit anywhere, so you have to come along and we are going to point it out and you have to take a certain seat. So the same word can be uttered with a rising falling tone and with a falling rising tone. Now the idea is that intonation is a very important feature of connected speech. So if you are good at interpreting it, then uh, you can know the body language of the speaker. This I'm gonna indicate in the next. Second is identification of attitude. The first function of intonation was that we change meaning. How we change meaning? In the one example, you say that you can't sit, there are no seats, and in the second example you say there are seats but the choice is not yours. And now here, indication of attitude. You might have had a chance to listen to this sentence. Sometime people report that they didn't like someone's tone of voice. Okay, उर्दू में भी हम कहते हैं कि यार उसका जो लहजा था ना वो मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा. यानी फ़र्ज़ करते हैं उसने किसी चीज़, आप किसी चीज़ को कोई मांगने गए और फलां ने हाँ भी कर दी, तो आप कहते हैं उसने हाँ तो की है लेकिन उसके लहजे से मुझे यूँ लगा है कि उसने हाँ नहीं की है, उसने ना की है. तो जो बज़ाहिर वर्ड्स बोले जाते हैं वो उसको अफर्मेटिव होते हैं कि यस आप ये चीज़ ले सकते हैं, लेकिन कहने का लहजा ऐसा होता है कि मांगने वाला जो समझ आता है कि ये एक तरह की ना है. So in this context, usually people say that I didn't like her tone of voice. Tone of voice. Tone mean intonation, tunes. Now native speakers are more intolerant of mistakes of stress and intonation. Okay, if you pronounce a word incorrectly before a native speaker, it doesn't matter. But when you place the stress on a wrong syllable, it changes meaning. Like if you say let's say desert instead of saying desert, so it changes meaning. And if your intonation is not correct, so I mean it may antagonize your native speaker. So they are very critical of intonation mistakes. They interpret stress and this intonation mistakes as evidence of arrogant and unfriendly manner. You see, so you need to learn intonation. If you make mistakes in the use of intonation, you may be interpreted as arrogant, okay, and unfriendly person. So here is an example. So as I said earlier on, this is speaker 1, okay, and he wants some help. He says I would like some help. Okay, now see the answer of the person. This is an answer with a rising intonation. Okay, rising intonation, it means polite and it shows interest. See, if someone says I would like some help and the answer is you would, it means I promise you would. Now see the same answer uttered in low tone. The person one says, I would like some help. You would. Now you might have noticed my low voice. So it means that although it is an agreement, I'm agreeing to request, but I'm actually disagreeing. So it is impolite and sarcastic. Okay. So two ways to utter the same sentence. Okay. The same statement, grammatically same statement, but the meaning are being conveyed with the rising and falling intonation, and the attitude of the person is also being shown. Okay, if it is a rising, it means that yes, you will get it, and if it is a low voice, pitch of the voice is low, it means you won't get it. Okay, here is a very important thing, that falling tunes usually show finality, okay, certainty, finished business, and rising tones means unfinished business. If you count this counting, okay, see, it is falling means that it is still continuing. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6, like this, it means that there is more information to come. And now here 1 2 3 4 5 6, so it is rising. Rising means now you don't, there are no more numbers. Okay, A indicates that the 6 is the lost. Okay, and B suggests more numbers to come. Okay, see, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and 1 2 3 4 5 6, like this. So if it is rising tone, it means that more information is coming up, and if it is falling tone, it means that your information is complete. Okay, now you can again utter these two phrases like 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, falling. So here finished. Now see, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and it means there is more information to come. So questions. WH questions use falling tunes, and yes no questions use rising tunes, rising intonation patterns. Native speakers are more intolerant of mistakes of stress and intonation, already mentioned. Okay, so let me take you to the next slide. Here WH questions use falling tones, and yes no questions use rising tones. So falling tones, like where is he, why wasn't I told, who said so, how shall we go. Now rising tones, is he on leave, can I visit him, have you seen him, do you know the way. So usually falling tones are used with WH questions, and rising tones with yes no questions. So last, rising falling tones, that is mixed tones. Okay, they use exaggerated notions. Okay, like surprise or flattering admiration. So some exaggeration is indicated with the help of falling rising falling tones. Okay, okay, let me give you this example, this word wonderful. Okay, now let me see how to pronounce this wonderful. Okay, wonderful. So you can cross these. I think there is a misquoting of the text, so in this slide I just wanted to cover this one. Okay, so this is irrelevant here. Okay, so now mixed tones are used for exaggerations. Okay, like wonderful, so it is rising falling into tunes. And yes, this was the slide. Actual previous slide was a blend of two slides, so that's why I crossed certain things. So now last, this lecture was based upon the course text in the Allama Iqbal Open University book, which deals with intonation patterns. I just wanted to warm you up to this topic. Later on, I plan to record a detailed lecture on it, but at least you must know that in connected speech we also have intonation. So it is a part of suprasegmental phonology. Let me show you the first slide. So these are other features of suprasegmental phonology: assimilation, elision, linking a liaison, weak form, rhythm, and then contrastive stress has already been discussed, that we give prominence to one word in a sentence and it also changes meaning. Okay, let's say you say I have bought tickets. So if you want to give prominence to one word, you can say i I have bought tickets. Okay, you can say I bought tickets, not anything else. Contrast. So he said, you can say yesterday I ate fish. So if you want to stress fish, you will say yesterday I ate fish, not anything else. uh, if you want to say that I bought fish, you want to stress bought, so you will say yesterday I bought fish, and it means that you didn't sell it, like this. So contrastive stress, this is a sentence stress actually. So these are some of the features of phonology, which is known as suprasegmental phonology. That is, we rise from the segments and we move into connected speech. So intonation is one of the important features of connected speech, in which we vary our tone, we give rise to our pitch of the voice, or we fall, because natural language is not uttered on a monotone. There is always rise and fall in the tone and utterance of words. And when we give rise to our voice, then it achieves two functions: either we modify the meaning, okay, or we kind of show some attitude towards our listener. Thank you very much.